apologize for going there because I really think your brand is already set. I mean, your brand is who you are. Like, what is important to you? As I mentioned, I didn't start working at 22 and become a please and thank you and yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, and attempt to help people along the way and pick them up, and pick it up instead of step over it. So, yeah, I that was already resonant. If your brand is a reflection of your genuine, authentic self, it's already there. Now, if I so part of it is how are you raised? I mean, what's important to you?
Yeah.
Likability. You know, maybe I learned early on in business that you don't want to be underdressed. You don't want to be too much overdressed. Now, there are some little nuances, but I think it's kind of already set. I don't know, Tim. What do you think? I mean,
I hit record for this portion. We don't always record the Q&A, but I hit record because of what you said, Andrew, and then also David, you just picked up and ran with. Don't be so separation of, for lack of a church and state, like personal and work. Like, don't be so, you are who you are. You're a human. Now, Andrew, we coach sales teams all the time. Like when you go out to a business, discussion, is it all just small talk and 10%? Oh yeah, and by the way, let's talk business, or let's talk some small talk and really make business the focus. Like, we want to be business minded professionals, but checking in with them, how are things? So important. And people buy people. People buy what you, I'll tell you, when I've shared some of my personal visions and mission statements and like getting mom a home and mother-in-law a home and the foundation we set up and people, I've had more people, more business owners reach out to me, like back to me. I'm not even doing business with them yet, but they reached back to them. How can we help fund this? I've got an attorney if you ever want to talk to them. I've like, they buy into that side of who I am. And then eventually business just starts to kind of happen because now again, we're in sales. I ask for the business at some point, and up front, they know my intention is we're meeting talk business. But sometimes the timing isn't just there. But if I only ever approached on business, and then I approached in 3 months on business, they never get to know you. You are what's sticky. You are what's sticky. So I think all of us as professionals would do ourselves a service to rewind to when we were 18 or 22 or 25, when we entered the workforce. What did all of our coworkers say? And if you're brand new out there right now, listen to the feedback. What are people giving you? What do they love about when you show up? What do you bring to the room? There will be people in your life who are kind enough to give you that feedback. I could point to many on my wall of gratitude who were kind enough to give me the feedback to where I literally went and wrote a freaking book based on feedback about what I brought to the world that I didn't really even see that I was bringing to the world. And sometimes that's the problem. We're so close to the forest, we don't even see the trees. So your brand, the essence of it, and how you start building a brand is listen to the feedback and don't be afraid to show up as you. It's not an oversharing. It's not a just, oh, it's all, we're here to get work done, but I'm a human. Andrew, what's the song you just introduced me to? Are we dancers or are we human?
Yeah, the good song by the Killers, by the way. That's a good one. So I did want to draw like a delineation too. Like your brand doesn't necessarily create a sale. It creates attraction. If your sales process after the attraction is not in place or it sucks, then you're not going to close the business. I see too many people just all focused on brand building and there's no back end. So like I had a realtor reach out after a training. It's like, well, I'm just trying to create all this massive attraction on social media. Well, there's no back end process. The brand doesn't make any difference because as soon as people try to reach out, they don't get a response for 3 days, or you don't have a good back end process, you lost them. The brand attracts, that's you, that's who you are. Again, that's why 70-30, right? 70 about what makes you tick, 30 about what you do. And then once you get attraction going, that's where you have the sales conversation where it's flips to 70% we're talking business and 30% small talk, or vice, however you want to look at that, Tim, 80-20, whatever. So just want to draw that clear delineation for everybody. There's definitely a difference between marketing and sales or brand and sales process.
Yeah. And Tim, I look back, we've been writing content for over a decade. we've been just writing all kind of stuff, assessments, playbooks, short assessments. You know, we have been putting down content for a long time. When it came to the point of really creating a business around it and our first summit, it was super important. You brought it up, but it became super important for both of us that if we were going to monetize it, that it was all going to go to charity. Probably at a time that you could use some money, I could use some money, but what was important in our passion of giving back to the sales community with what we create and will continue to create and coach, and then the larger community at large. So I guess we are Subaru, right, Andrew?
Yeah.
You know, those are things important, but it was all it was all just a reflection of what was important to us and our personal brand, what was deep in our hearts. But I do understand, you know, you're 22 years old, you're entering the work world, you're understanding this whole new thing. And to Andrew's point, and to your point as well, Tim, take lessons, like start creating the brand that's comfortable for you. You might not have it
Yep.
fully
Yep.
baked at that point in time. I don't think I did, but the heart was there, which
Yeah.
drove, you know.
Start with awareness. Take the quiz in the description of this recording. Start with awareness. Like Andrew said, have the courage to mix who you are with how you show up, right? And just understand that. But also as you start really honing your brand, David, as you were talking about, right? The whole energy brand and kind of where we took it and what we were going to do to give back. Every summit, every large event, we were doing that for charity. You know, picking and figuring out who you are, that's important. But it all starts, I think, with just, you got to start today with awareness, and then also listen to what your customers say, what you bring to the table. All of us have a different personality, a different strength, and that all pulled together, they're all the cells that make up our brand and how we show up. So Andrew, and you, as you said it perfectly, it's the quote of the day: your brand doesn't create a sale, it creates attraction. Your action after that attraction is what makes the sale. So your brand does not compensate for the lack of salesmanship and sales skill. So your brand should be who you show up as authentically, what you say, how you do it. We can always hone on how we say it and do it, but it's who you are. I can't go be Andrew. I always say Andrew's the executioner. He comes in, no fluff. And that's, Andrew, I think is why I think you are the innocent. Pure of heart. I told you this the other day. You have no dog in the hunt when you want somebody to succeed. Like I have seen you literally, and again, you go out there and help, you ask all the right, just simple, easy, down to earth questions. And they're like, right? And because you're pure of heart. And then I'll come in as an explorer and mess all your focus up because I'm like all over the place. And it's like, we got to focus. So again, I can't be Andrew. You can't be me. David, you can't be me. I can't be the sage. I can pull in Cricket, be fine with it, go into my sales call. You're standing out there by the car still in stress and anguish because the car is Cricket. And, you know, no, you know, we all bring strengths to each other, but live in who you are. Start building your brand. Be courageous enough for it. So that was the question there. And then the second question I do want to jump to is we got a couple of scripts in. I think scripts you also need to think about. And that's why we said that we were going to get to scripts, is your brand archetype can come through your script. You need to be honest with who you are and where your, you know, strength is to take this company or this prospect through a journey. It needs to come across. But so one of the scripts we got in was, hi, I'm with the largest brokerage in, you know, McLean, or I'm with it's like, okay, you are now overcompensating for your lack of, I believe your lack of who you are, and you're putting the company brand forward. We are in a service industry. People are going to buy you. I would always start with something about who you are to them. So for instance, I reached out recently. I said, hey, David, you game to grab a drink or grub in the next 2 weeks? ? So I always start with I always start with my call to action, right? That's my process. But I said, I heard an executive coach recently, and they asked me 3 questions that as soon as I heard the questions, I thought I have to share this guy's stuff with boom. And I used the whole full name, David Oliphant, exclamation. So right away, it was this sense of exploring, this sense of we're going to go somewhere. I'm going to challenge you. That was who I was. So think about your brand archetype and how you insert what you're going to do for somebody or with somebody from this is what I heard, this is what I like to bring. I would like to ask you this question. I have some ideas. By the way, I'm Tim with brokerage so-and-so's company. If you even go there, I just wait till I'm in person to do that. Nobody loves reading that in an email anyway. But anyway, guys, I'll kick it over to you for the scripting. But again, somebody asked, how should my script be formatted, right? And I think just don't be afraid to lean into who you are and what you bring to that equation. They want to meet with you. They're not meeting with your company. They would have called the 1-800 number on the website if they want to meet with your company. They're meeting with you. So, Andrew, David, how would you wrap this one up when it comes to scripting and using our brand archetype?
I'm not smart enough to correlate the archetype, but you know me, Tim. I'm all about, I read that as like, so what? If it can't pass the so what, I'm Tim with the biggest company in the world. So what? Like what's it going to mean to that person? So, but adding in the archetype, you do need to, I leverage curiosity. You want to give a little bit of, I'm speaking, from my research, Tim, you seem to be similar to folks I have helped before. Like, again, I'm very non-assuming. I am very much in the sales process and assumptive close, but at the beginning, I'm not assumptive. I don't know that I can help you yet. Now, you might seem similar from my limited research, from my research, that you are very similar to those that I've helped in the past. But I'm not going to be assuming that I can help you. So I don't know how that relates to archetype. Andrew's smarter than me, so Andrew.
Well, as far as relating it back, it's knowing your tone. If you're more of a caregiver, the questions you're going to ask may not be like Tim's, where it's like, I have 3 questions an executive's going to ask you. It might be more of like, I have 3 questions that have helped agents I work with improve their quality of life or move business forward, put more time back in there. Like whatever your tone, that's just going to impact kind of your line of questioning, in my opinion, based on your brand. As far as reaching out, Tim, I'm right there with you. Put the ask first before the platitude. And I talk about this all the time, and I would just continue to talk about it because it works so often than not. There's a certain level of disingenuous. I can't say the word. You're disingenuous. And it's like, hey, I hope you had a great weekend and hope the family and the kids are doing good. Oh, by the way, I want to meet with you. No, you're emailing because you want to meet with them. So email and say, hey, I'm looking to visit with you over coffee. I have a couple ideas I want to run by you. Insert brand tone or whatever your questions are. What are your thoughts on this Thursday? Cool. Then I would go down and say, by the way, saw you had some fun over the weekend doing XYZ with your kids. Hope the family's doing well. Have a good day. So that's when it comes to scripts, just flip what you're probably doing now to put the platitudes at the bottom, put the ask at the top within the first line. It's honest, it's transparent. And I find it resonates with most brand types because most people, no matter who you are, they can suss through if you're just buttering them up for something. So.
We did a whole deep dive, couple recordings back. So on the channel, look for the do's and don'ts. We did a whole do's and don'ts. It was very powerful. Real quick, we have a couple of minutes and we'll wrap this up. I just want to call attention to one last thing. As you're building your brand, don't lose, especially when it's coming to content that you're putting out there. Andrew said it as we started, and we'll end right here. Start with a why. Why'd you get in? Why do you why does it matter to your consumer? Why your story matters, and who you are and what you bring to the table matters. So sharing that in their terms, sharing it with, again, inquisitiveness, humility, and understanding, just the I heart you approach, just tell who you are and why you got into it. Sometimes we get past all that, or we lose the person you're meeting with today. This is the first time they met you, right? Don't lose your story and your heart and how you and why you do what you do, right? So I think we'll just end back there with start with why as you build your brand. And then also some of why you do it might be the joy of sharing some of the other accessory sort of things. You may be, Andrew, we say this all the time. You may be the wine connoisseur, that you might be the chef. You might be there are things about you that you could absolutely bless your clients with. And it'll just make you even that much more sticky in their mind because you have something totally unrelated to the what. So just does your business help you do more of the why of your life? Be willing to share that. So very powerful.
Love it.
So
Love it. Awesome.
good stuff. Well, thank you for joining us. And in the description again of this recording is the link for next month. We have Todd Bowman joining us. We're going to talk about Never Eating Lunch Alone, the book by Keith and Farazi, I believe. And Todd Bowman, one of the best at networking. You want to talk about rocking your next networking event and leaving with too much follow-up? No, the right kind of follow-up. Join us next month with Todd Bowman. But thanks for joining us today, Andrew and David. As always, Andrew, thanks for taking us through the brand archetypes, man. I love how you break
Thanks
it
for
down.
having me on again. I appreciate it. Always
Um,
have fun with you guys.
And David, your guidance to our community and just your wisdom, truly sales wisdom. Hey guys, just so you know, the man behind the curtain, when you send your scripts in, you know, I might send you a script back, but some of the ones you send are doozies. I'll pop it over to David and say, hey man, what are your thoughts? David's the sage behind the curtain. So again, David, I appreciate you.
I'm gonna be the jester.
being on.
I
Are
was
you the
jester in-
jester?
I used to be in 6th grade. I was.
You're the jester. Okay. Well, you have beautifully mixed the jester and the sage. Anyway, go ahead and scan the QR code here on the screen. Get registered for next month, folks, if you're not already. And thanks for joining us today. Again, these recordings will be up on the YouTube channel. David, Andrew, thanks, gents.
Thank you, Tim.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.